ask the ministers of God this very, very beautiful evening, wherever you're catching us from. Asante sana for being part of this great program. This is a post-Christmas edition or past Christmas edition. Just had a beautiful Christmas, the 25th, had the Boxing Day. Naona hapa kuna gifts kem. And here we are just together with the men of God to speak about Christmas after Christmas, how just to capture and receive the new year 2020. Oh my goodness, our ears flowing. What? We are excited to be here. My name is Super Waroe, and I'd like to introduce the men of God that God has raised for this season. Karibu sana, and I have to begin with Apostle Geshimu. I'm almost introducing you. You're our brand.
Yes, thank you. I think my name has already been mentioned, Apostle Dan Geshimu. And I want to welcome you, especially this season. We have just celebrated Christmas, and now we are moving into the new year. Happy New Year, my viewer.
Karibu sana, Apostle.
Asante.
And we get also to know your name.
Merry Christmas, everybody. My name's Pastor Nixon. I pastor a church here in Nakuru, Solid Rock Fellowship. I work under Bishop Jim Mwando. And I'm so glad to be here today.
Karibu sana, karibu sana. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
And we love visitors. Kwa hivyo karibu.
Thank you so much.
And today we are talking about post-Christmas reactions. We've had a huge Christmas celebration.
Yes.
And Apostle, I know you've been around more than most of us. Sijui Christmas ilikuwaje siku zenu. How was Christmas? From the 60s maybe.
I think I can start from 60s.
Yes.
I remember being a small boy around 1960, 61, 62. And really all we know about Christmas, at least the word Christmas, we knew it. But what it meant, that was another story. All we knew during Christmas, that's the time when we eat a lot of chapatis, at least a goat or a lamb will be killed for us to feast. We knew it as a time of feasting and feeling good and shouting and jumping around, you know, as a child.
Yes.
Probably because our parents were not Christians. They knew nothing about Christ. In fact, I grew up not hearing the name Christ being mentioned in my family until 1963, when I went to class 1.
You had not heard of the name Christ mentioned.
Not at all. Not at
So
all.
Christmas was
so
just fun.
Christmas for me was just a time that came during the year. In fact, even I didn't know what time of the year it was. All I knew is that once in a year, we shall eat chapatis. The goodies. It's like they used to reserve those goodies
For Christmas.
for that particular time.
And for the digital persons, we want to tell you, chapatis were a delicacy.
Oh, it was. It was.
Yani, hata ukisikia jirani anapika chapati, unaenda kuomba chumvi hata kama hujatumwa na unakaa hadi ziive. So basically that's
in
what
fact, that's all. That was all. And the whole family was like that, actually. And let me say, until, you know, the whole of that early 60s, chapatis actually in our place was just eaten once in a year. And that was during Christmas. So we knew Christmas, and once it came, we were all excited as kids.
Really?
Know? Oh, yes.
12 months, 365 days.
Yes.
You'd eat chapatis once.
Yes. You know, the rest of the times is Ugari, Githeri, Mukimo, Marigo, Boise, name it.
Pastor, unasikia maneno Pastor.
Unajua vile Apostle anasema, for us, tulijua chapati is only for the rich people. And then to have chapati during the Christmas, we considered ourselves as rich. And we would enjoy chapati very much. Nobody was going out from the diameter of the house because chapati was around and everybody was happy because they are going to take chapati. So Christmas, today people take it differently, but during those times we used to just take it at that low level.
And of celebration and eating.
Just
all your brothers come, all your sisters that are married, those that have gone away from home, they are now coming back. and now everybody's at home. Sasa kila mtu ako home ana enjoy Christmas. Wanaonana siku hiyo, kuna chapo, kuna kuku. Kitu yenye muoni, mmekuwa mnapambana na omena, si mboga yenye ina chumvi, napambana na mambo tu la bad. During Christmas it was very special.
From the Nyanza region, so it
Yes.
was some omena the other day.
Yeah, omena was also involved there. It was special to Luos. It is very special.
Yes.
And so you find that people used to enjoy so much about Christmas, especially when you talk about chapo, chapati in the picture. Christmas was not a Christmas without chapati. Yeah, that's all I know about that. It was not Christmas. And then I can remember very well. Tulikuwa tunanunuliwa viatu za dancing shoes, sandak.
God has lifted you. You have sharp shooters.
Praise the name of the Lord.
Yeah.
Those days kulikuwa na zile dancing shoes, sandak. Zile zenye na from January to November mmevaa nguo imeraruka, lakini siku hiyo mzazi anapambana kabisa. Afadhali mukae kama mmevaa uniform. Mnapelekwa kwa fundi, mnapimwa. And that was all about Christmas. Mnapimwa na mko na dancing shoes. Jua ikiwaka inawachoma, manake ni plastic. It was really hot, but that is how we took it. And personally, I didn't know anything about Christ, like Apostle is saying. I had no idea it was about Christ, like something like, I just knew that it is Christmas.
And it was a word.
At least the pastor was lucky because during our time, you think of a shoe, you would be dreaming. No shoe,
No
nothing.
dancing shoe, no sandal.
No shoes, nothing.
Not even socks.
Well, amazing. Even wearing shorts is just a shirt, you know, and there is nothing else that you are wearing. That's
God.
how we were. That's a fact.
Wow.
No shoes, and then just
A
a
shirt.
Yes, in those early years.
And it's good for us to understand that that is where our parents have come from.
Yes.
Wow. So when we see people who've made it, there's been a journey.
They have gone through a process.
How was it then in the 70s, in the 80s? Did it begin now to evolve? Now, probably it evolves to what you're talking about.
Right.
And we get a bit more of color and shoes and all that. And at what point, I do remember, allow me to say this, my mom telling me they would have people walking into home singing at night.
Yes.
And with candles?
With candles. Actually, they used to call it in Kikuyu, around Kikuyu area. They used to call it a time of Murekio. That is, Murekio is somebody who was sent to tell the shepherds that Christ is born. So that song actually was very, very common within the Kikuyu community in central Kenya. So people popularly, because they used to visit homes singing that song, that the good news, the good tidings, and then people would come out from the home, and then they would present a gift for the child.
Oh.
For the child that is born.
Oh, which is now Jesus.
Which is Jesus, exactly. Yeah, so that's how it used to be. But still, that deep understanding, although by this time, I should say 70s, 60, late 60s, I knew about Christ.
Okay.
And now I started understanding, who Christ was and what he had come to do, because we had very good teachers who were teaching us in Sunday school and the rest of it. So now from there, at least I was able to understand that Jesus was born around the Christmas time.
Wow.
So now from there, my perspective
Changed.
now started changing about Christ. Now when I got born again, the fuller meaning was unraveled for me. So the full revelation of who Christ was actually was revealed to me. And now if I celebrate with understanding what it is all about.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, so now you get into that place. At what point was Christmas and Christ introduced to you? At one point, you never even heard of the name Christ in your home.
I can never forget one, kulikuwa na wakati fulani ya Christmas, we went to Nyanza. And during this time, at least I had a little bit understanding of what Christmas is, but there was a song people would sing during the Christmas, especially 24th in the night, going round, and they would say in Luo, Kristo nyuol, Kristo nyuol. Now, I could not get what it meant during that time, but if I can translate it, it meant that Jesus is born. Jesus is born. So when I went back one time during the Christmas time, it was like, now I got the understanding of what Christmas is all about.
Yes.
Because there, they would take the drums, they would take anything that can produce a sound, and they could begin to beat going around from every boma to every boma, just declaring Kristo nyuol, like Jesus is born, Jesus is born, Jesus is born.
And do they also give money for the baby?
You know what? It is very, very opposite. They go from boma to boma, and they're like, they have the small mukebe, and they're like, put something here. It is not you receiving anything, but it is you giving.
Yes.
It is you giving. It is you giving. So that is, but by that time I was not even born again.
But that was the first introduction of understanding about Christmas.
About Christmas.
That Jesus is
born. Jesus is born. That is when I really came to understand that, so this thing they are singing and saying, Christ is born, Christ is born. So Jesus was born during this time. And later on, I came to understand more about Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. And we're right here just looking at how this issue of Christmas has evolved over the years. Just to give you an understanding, probably you are a .com, what do we call a millennium baby, and you do not understand how it has been in the past, just to give you a glimpse of it. And now we want to talk about we've just celebrated Christmas and so much shamra zimekuwa and na kumekuwa na hali ya kufurahi na hali ya kuwa na sherehe nyingi. What are your opinions about that?
One of the things that I would say is that the celebrations, sometimes people celebrate the wrong way. Because it's always good to understand when you do something, why am I doing it? What is this Christmas all about? If you have that understanding, or if you have understanding why you're doing something, like the Mashujaa Day, for example, we know we all celebrate Mashujaa Day because we have our heroes in this nation that fought for the liberation of our nation. So when you celebrate with understanding, now we know Christmas is a time that Christ was born. Unfortunately, people don't celebrate it that way. They do other wrong things. And with those wrong things, you know, people end up, even, unfortunately, there are some people who either get hurt, others even, in the worst scenario, they lose their lives. Because you find somebody drinks and
forgets himself.
He doesn't know where he is, he doesn't know anything. He gets into a vehicle, he crashes himself. Unfortunately, he also crashes other people. So these are some of the things that we see in Christmas. I don't know how this message can get across to the people, but it is my prayer that if people can do things the right way, with the right understanding, even when you do, don't go to the extreme. When you celebrate, you know,
just be within the
be within the parameters of that particular event.
So
because
be
it's about
within that
Jesus.
parameter, yes.
Reflect on yourself as a human being, because you are not in this world forever. This is Son of God who came. And when he came to look for you and to save you and to show you the way, and at least to give you a revelation that there is a better life after this life.
Very
if
well
people
said.
can reflect it that way,
then we would
really
have
they
a
get it all.
better society. And we're talking about Christmas, post-Christmas, past Christmas. And when we come back, we'll be talking about how to pray through the new year. Should we fast? Should we take time off? Just what should we do? And just to let you know, just before we end this episode, we've got great gifts for our panelists right here. We'll be right back.